Through a Mirror by C.S.R.
27th October, 27, Friday, 12:15 p.m. After they get ready, Boothry, Lewin, and Jarvis have agreed to help me look and talk to Ginger. After all, Boothry is a burner, and they work better together in a pack. I thought it'd be a good idea for them to meet. We're going to come from above by flying so we can find her a little more easily and stay out of sight. Boothry's going to carry Lewin, while Jarvis is going to carry me. This is actually exciting. 27 October, 27, Friday, 8:45 p.m. So we found Ginger on the outskirts of town. She was standing on a boulder and causing a volcano to erupt and head toward the city. Boothry tossed Lewin onto Jarvis' back and flew down to confront her. As Boothry's massive wings flapped hard, keeping him barely above the lava, everything returned to the volcano. I saw Ginger frantically turn about, yelling at the lava. Jarvis started to lower us a bit, being wary about getting too close since they were dripping in asbestos. The gust of wind being caused by Boothry's wings nearly knocked Ginger off the boulder she was standing on. But it was his sight that caused her to fall down in fear.
Demon!
She cried out with a blood-curdling scream. Boothry, who was obviously annoyed, folded his arms and responded.
Demon? That's it. Monster is one thing, but demon?
He gave out a breath of frustration.
I hate girls, especially rude teenage ones.
Stay away from me, you fucker.
Boothry landed on the ground in front of her.
Look, you and I are the same. Well, halfway.
We aren't the same. Just look at yourself.
With a grunt, Boothry continued.
Well, no gurglite. You're half human.
What do you mean I'm half human? That's bullshit. And what the hell is gurgle whatever?
I watched his magnificent eyes roll in their growing annoyance.
It means you're half human. The other half is what I am.
Ginger stood tall on her boulder to meet Boothry face to face as best as she could.
I don't look anything like you. I look like a human, so therefore I am a human.
But you start fires and you certainly don't look like a match to me. Honey, looks aren't everything.
I decided to interject as she got ready to yell at him more. Ginger! Jarvis landed, seeing the coast was clear, trying to pry Lewin off of himself. Boothry turned to me and said,
It's official. I hate her. And right now, I hate you for making me talk to her.
Don't be that way. I'm sure if you give her a chance...
A chance? This crazy little hitty was trying to set off a volcano and kill hundreds of people. She's an annoying brat that has no regard for other people. I do not like her.
I'm sure there's more to the story. I hesitated as I turned to face Ginger, who was watching in disgust. Right? Why were you trying to erupt the volcano? She let out a mocking laugh as she answered.
I thought you knew how I felt. I thought you understood. See, you're full of bullshit.
I then realized she was at the point in which Kristen was. So she was very late in feeling love and acceptance. I looked down, just giving out one of my breaths. Just like Kristen.
Are you in league with demons or something? You're supposed to be the messenger girl from hell?
What? They're not demons, and we have nothing to do with hell. They're called Smaragds, and they're from a wondrous land called Desma.
There you go, talking crazy again.
I flinched at her words as they really struck me and made me rather annoyed. Crazy? Well, if believing in monsters in another world is crazy, then isn't believing in demons and hell crazy too? Ginger got silent, only proving me right. But I can prove it. I can show you the proof too. And look, monsters, not demons. In fact, Smaragds.
Because they're called smurgs or whatever, doesn't mean what they're not demons. And that this other world, whatever, isn't hell. You don't have proof.
Well, let me show you, Desma, and you can judge it for yourself. But then I realized that she had of course found a way to turn things around and still call it hell. On top of the fact that proving myself right wasn't important. Never mind. Proving that Desma and the Smaragds are real doesn't really matter right now. I want to help you. I want to talk. I also want you to see that you aren't alone, and I don't mean in the sense that you're not the only one who's been bullied. Even I knew that when I was surrounded by all those terrible children. I mean to say that you're not the only burner. There are more who can start and control fires just like you. Apparently it's easier for you guys to work in a pack.
Well, how the hell do I know that you're not lying about these burners, as you call them? How do I know you're not trying to trick me?
There was nothing I could actually do to prove to her the truth, so I said, "You don't. You just have to decide that for yourself right now. But my friend Boothry does have the same powers as you, does he not?" Ginger took some time to think, then shook her head and said,
Screw it. Fine. I'll go to your house.
I told my friends to head back to Yuchidesma, and then Ginger and I would walk back to my house. When we entered my room, Ginger seemed to be struck by shock at the sight of the mirror.
That mirror!
She pointed at it, frazzled. "Oh yes, it's a portal to Yuchidesma. I received it from a nice old couple named Vargas. Said it belonged to their brother and his family before their house burned down in a fire."
Vargas? Fire?
"Is that how your parents died?" I looked over at Ginger. She was shaking.
I don't want to talk about it.
She turned from me and cleared her throat.
Do you have any smokes?
"Yeah." I ran to my mobile cards cabinet and pulled out 2 cigarettes for us to share.
I'm a bit surprised. Thought you'd be too moral to illegally smoke. But you do hang out with demons, so I guess it's not that surprising.
"Smell rags."
Whatever.
Ginger popped the cigarette in her mouth and seemed to light it with her mind. "Wait." I opened my window. "Smoke it outside the window. I don't want to get caught." We both popped our heads out.
So, all of the orphanages?
"Huh? Oh, yes. I've also been to many foster cares, too. I was in the custody of some people, all abusive or neglectful. Just used me for things."
Any of them sexually abuse you?
I don't think you really should be asking that sort of question so carelessly. Did that happen to you?
Nah, just curious. Kinda asked as a joke. My bad.
She looked at my scars. I had nonchalantly rolled up my sleeves, thinking she'd understand.
That's gross. You did that to yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why the hell would you? That's fucking sick. And in the bad way.
I put my head down in disappointment. Ginger's bag was on the floor and opened, revealing a little spiral notebook. "Do you journal?"
Yeah, so?
"Me too. I'm planning on making a book with my journals." I gasped as an idea came to me. "What if I include your journals too? It'd be cool. Telling our stories at the same time, but different perspectives."
Fuck no, weirdo.
I sighed in disappointment. "Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me, I guess." We stood there for a while longer and finished smoking. Soon my mother came in, so I introduced them. Ginger decided to leave after that. She seemed really frustrated and tired. I thought it was best for her to leave too.
Day 10/28/27. Date Saturday. Time 11 a.m. A lot happened yesterday. A lot. On Thursday, I ran into some bitch from one of the orphanages. She started harassing me. I pushed her away and ran back here, to the firehouse. I was so done. I wanted revenge. Revenge on the world. This town was some shithole that needed to be cleaned. I would do that. I would cleanse it of its filth. I'd bring on Armageddon. It's time people faced my wrath. So I decided to make my friend the volcano follow me to town. Made it spew up its lava and had it head toward them. I stood on a boulder and watched as I brought up the demise of many people. I felt so strong, so righteous. I was doing the right thing. So much suffering shouldn't have existed. Everything was going as planned. I made the lava avoid the firehouse and seep past the dead trees, causing them to catch fire. I was getting excited. I was so ready to do this. There was no one that I could care about. No one. All I wanted was to watch the world burn. And just as I thought everything was going well, the lava started retreating. I didn't understand what was happening. I started yelling at it to stop and go back toward the town. For a moment, I thought the lava had a mind of its own. I felt a gust of wind almost push me off my boulder. I turned to see some demon from hell flying right above the ground behind me. He was grotesquely pale with the tiger stripes, a long neck, serpent tail, and bat-like wings. He had long, sharp claws and teeth. I thought he was going to grab me and eat me with them. I fell back in terror and screamed out, "Demon!" He folded his arms like he was annoyed and started with a lecturing tone.
Demon? That's it. Monster is one thing, but demon? Oh, 3, I hate girls, especially rude teenage ones.
I screamed at him to stay away from me. He landed on his feet to the floor as the last of the lava returned to the volcano under his command, based on his movements. He started talking again.
Look, you and I are the same. Well, halfway.
I screamed back at him. We aren't the same. Just look at yourself.
Well, no Gurglite. You're half human.
I started to get pissed and shouted at him. What do you mean I'm half human? That's bullshit. And what the hell is a girl whatever? He rolled his haunting eyes and responded.
It means you're half human. The other half is what I am.
I stood up to face him but he was tall, and I met him by his face standing on the boulder. I don't look anything like you. Then I heard a familiar voice call out my name from above us. It was Little Bonfire. She was coming down with 2 other demons. One looked like some sort of imp, while the other resembled a tall, malicious spirit. It looked like a vampire. The first demon turned to Bonnie and said,
It's official. I hate her. And right now, I hate you for making me talk to her.
They started to argue a bit. She was very passive, which I found super annoying. Eventually, Bonnie turned toward me and asked why I made the volcano erupt. I laughed in her face and responded, I thought you knew how I felt. I thought you understood. See, you're full of bullshit. She looked down like she was defeated and disappointed and mumbled something under her breath. I continued to talk. Are you in league with demons or something? You're supposed to be the messenger girl from hell? She looked up at me in surprise and said,
What? They're not demons, and we have nothing to do with hell. They're called Smarags, and they're from a wondrous land called Yujadesma.
It was like she was speaking gibberish. This girl was really nerve-wracking. A liar, says things that sound insane, and hangs out with demons? I made up my mind not to trust her. There you go, talking crazy again. She flinched at me, looking hurt as she said,
Crazy? Well, if believing in monsters in another world is crazy, then isn't believing in demons and hell crazy too?
Damn, I have to admit, that was kinda accurate. I've never been one for believing in that stupid Bible, and I usually call religious people crazy for believing in that shit. Before I could state my agreement, Bonnie continued to speak.
But I can prove it. I can show you the proof too. And look, monsters, not demons. In fact, Smarags.
She was gesturing to the demons by her side. I responded. Because they're called smurgs or whatever, doesn't mean that they're not demons and that this other world, ultra whatever, is in hell. You don't have proof. Bonnie made a pouty face and said,
Well, let me show you Yujadesma and you can judge it for yourself.
She suddenly hesitated without reason.
Never mind. Proving Yujadesma and Smarags are real doesn't really matter right now. I want to help you. I want to talk. I also want you to see that you aren't alone, and I don't mean in the sense that you're not the only one who's been bullied. Even I knew that when I was surrounded by all those terrible children. I mean to say that you're not the only burner. There are more who can start and control fires just like you. Apparently it's easier for you guys to work in a pack.
I stared at her in bewilderment as I asked, Well, how the hell do I know you're not lying about these burners, as you call them? How do I know you're not trying to trick me? She sighed and responded,
You don't. You just have to decide that for yourself right now. But my friend Boothry does have the same powers as you, does he not?
That was possible, but really, all I saw him was making the lava go back to the volcano. They didn't mean he could make fires. I decided to say screw it and went with Bonnie. The demons ended up flying ahead and I didn't see them for the rest of the day. Bonnie took me to her house and her bedroom. She had this bunk bed with a desk under it, rather than another bed. But there was a mirror on the desk. I knew this mirror. It was almost as if I remember seeing it over my own crib. It was frightening. I felt I was faced with a ghost. I turned to Bonnie and demanded her to tell me where she got it. She said this couple in her neighborhood had it in a yard sale and their name was the Vargases, and that it used to belong to the man's brother. That is my last name too. Bonnie asked me if I thought it possible for the couple to be my aunt and uncle. I didn't know. My family died when I was so young. I don't remember them at all. But somehow, I can remember that mirror. The last name. I would allow it to be coincidence. It's common, but that mirror, the intense feeling I got from it, no way. I knew this mirror. I don't remember much else if we talked about it. I remember the two of us smoking a few cigarettes. Bonnie made us stick our heads out through the window so that her room didn't smell. And she didn't get caught. Oh, and she asked if she could have a copy of my journal entries. What the hell? She wanted to use them for a book or something. Said it'd be really interesting. Like hell I was giving her my journal. I also sent her the scars in her arm. The self-inflicted kind. And let me tell you, some of them were fresh. How could someone like her be so depressed she cuts herself? It's just disgusting and vulgar. And coming from me, that really does mean some shit, man. The woman who adopted Bonfire eventually heard us and came into the room. I left soon after that. Didn't want to hang around her anymore. She claims she knows how I feel, but she really knows nothing. How could she understand? She can't start fires, and she has a very nice lady in a wheelchair taking care of her, and yet she cuts herself. You know what? That is such bullshit. I mean, come on. It really pisses me off.